Good afternoon, and welcome to the Fayetteville Public Library. My name is Kathy, and I work in the reference department. Before we get started, I'd like to point out the table in the back. We have all sorts of flyers in our monthly newsletter, and we also have a questionnaire. If you would take the time to fill that out, it does help us in future programming. Today, we have Tarsha Shepard, 2021 Master Gardener and Master Naturalist graduate. She has grown thousands of plants from seed, and she is a lover of all things gardening and nature. Her program today is on fall gardening. Let's welcome Tarsha.
All right, so I'm so glad that somebody showed up. That's great. So this is not like my gardening class where I'm going to talk about tools and supplies and things like that. So if you have any of those questions, there's a scan. You can always scan that and get my email and ask me anything you want, or even make suggestions. I'm always learning constantly and looking forward to learning more. So what I wanted to go over today was, number one, I wanted us to maybe plant a few seeds that you guys can take with you guys. And then I wanted to just go over to give you an idea of what you can actually plant in this season in Arkansas, because a lot of times people get confused about what they can actually plant in the fall. So if everybody's checked in, I'm going to go to the next slide. Let's see, here we go. So this is cool season gardening. Everything I'm going to show you, I may point out some things that you can't plant just to get rid of the myth on that, but mostly the things that you see on this table and on the other table are things that you can plant, and they're frost hardy. And so what that basically means is you're able to mulch it heavy or not mulch it, and it's going to be fine growing through the winter. I will point out that you want to be familiar with your seed packet, and you want to make sure that you do read it, because that's important. And a lot of times you can go onto the website of the actual seed manufacturer, and they give lots of details about the individual seeds. So that is another option. You can do that too. So gardening is more than plants. It's about health, happiness, and sustainability. Growing your own food, save you money, and give you a fresher, tastier produce than what's in stores during the off season. So if you're anything like me, I love seeing things growing in my garden and my greenhouse. I love to see that rather than making that trip to the grocery store just for those items. So you'll get to see what you can grow through the fall, winter, and early spring. And with everything rising in price in the stores, I don't know about you, but I'm getting real, to the point where it's just, I would like an acre of land where I could just grow everything, have chickens and all the things, so I don't have to go to the store ever. That would be ideal, right? And some people do that. So can you have a cool season garden? Yes, you can. And if this sounds familiar to you and you think, oh, I waited too long, I've missed it already, I didn't put my seeds in, the frost came and it killed all of your plants, last year, and some of you are in areas where you might be getting a little colder than normal. Maybe you're living, I don't know all of Arkansas, but I know there are some areas that are much colder than other areas, and we've been getting some really cold nights, and you're thinking, oh, I can't do it because it's just too cold. Well, that's not true. You can still plant things, and you're not sure what to plant or when to start it, and that's what we're going to do here today. We're going to actually start some plants. Start some seeds, and we're actually going to look at some of the things that you can plant. So guess what? It's not your fault. The secret to cool season gardening is knowing your timing, picking the right crops, and staying consistent. So let's walk through it step by step. So starting your cool season garden, waiting too long can miss the cool season window. Early frost can kill tender plants. Start seeds indoors with trays and grow lights. I have lots of grow lights, as you can see in my greenhouse. I just love to see green growing. I just love to see green. When I see green, I know I'm making progress. When I became a new gardener, we got a Yoder-built greenhouse. It was a really big greenhouse. You could literally have a party in there and sleep. I love being in that greenhouse, and it felt so safe too. Even when it was a storm, I would work in there during rainstorms, and I would just be at peace. I love gardening so much. I used to tell people that it's so good. It's better than having a boyfriend. And so if you're looking for something to take the place of that, then there you go. That's my tidbit for today. So you can use a greenhouse or a cold frame to protect your seedlings. The early frost can kill your tender plants, so you want to start the seeds indoors with trays and grow lights. But guess what? A lot of these seeds I have here today, they actually give you a time frame of when you can plant your seeds in the ground outdoors. So look on the back of your seed packet. They will tell you that. Many of them give you tips and tricks on what to do, like put them in the fridge, soak them, things like this. If I can tell you, honestly, I never did any of that. And look at my greenhouse. So I would just spend time with them. If I saw something wasn't coming up and it wasn't growing, I go back to the drawing board. I repot it, or I try something different. But I just try to do as less work as possible because I want to make gardening super easy. So you want to read the seed packets for the best planting times, the depth, and you want to go to the website of the actual manufacturer to get busy with reading their suggestions as well. So I had a friend that had a greenhouse, and they said, Tarsha, your greenhouse is always so full of things. Can you come and plant things in our greenhouse? And I said, you know what? I can, because I love it. So I went over to their house, and literally for 3 years straight, every season I would work in my greenhouse, and then I would go to theirs. And I actually like theirs so much better that I ended up planting a lot of seeds in there. I filled it up, and to the point where I was actually giving away so many plants. I had too many plants. I could not repot them. And you will see today when we throw seeds in a pot just how I do it. Sometimes we put a little bit too many in. And one year I did that, and I must have had well over 500 turnips. I mean, it was insane. And I was calling people all over Arkansas, hey, you know anybody that eats turnips? Because it seems to be 50 and over. Nobody, if you're under 50, you're like, what is a turnip? So I actually brought some turnip seeds so everybody can see what a turnip is, and I bought mustard green seeds so you can see that they go really good together. So those things you can grow, and most root vegetables go really well in the cool season. So you want to just have a plan. What's your plan? And I want to just say, if you don't have a plan or you're thinking about doing some, just jot down. I always keep a notepad with me in my handy dandy little gardening chair. I stuff that bag down below with all the things I need when I'm going out into the garden or the greenhouse. And so you want to make sure that you have that. Make a plan. Plan your cool season garden layout. What is it that you're actually trying to do? Are you just wanting salads, you know, every once in a while during the season? Are you wanting to have more smoothies? Are you trying to battle diabetes or other diseases that you're really wanting to get serious about this season? Well, guess what? If you plant greens in your garden, especially a lot of the greens I have here, they will do just that, and that's a great thing, right? And so you want to start seeds for leafy greens, roots, and herbs, and you want to harvest the crisp greens, radishes, and herbs right through the fall. And so with me, as you can see, with some of these leaves I have in the back of the greenhouse, I could just go over and clip them and make salads. And so I didn't wait for them to get full length. I could make salads they would be like the size of arugula, if you're familiar with that. And I would make little salads. I bought also some seeds for microgreens just for you guys to see what it looks like. Those packets you can buy just about at any store. I'm not sure where you wouldn't be able to buy them as far as it's a gardening store. I think they're everywhere. These are so good. And as you can see in the picture, they've got them on sandwiches, soups, salads, just by themselves. And you could just eat a handful of these a day, and you would get so many of the nutrients you need, for your day-to-day living, as well as these green chard microgreens. So you're thinking, I can't have Swiss chard and certain things in the winter. Yes, you can. These I grow. I just did a tray yesterday, and I grow them inside. I just put them under a grow light, or I do the tray and I put plastic over it, just regular cellophane plastic or a large Ziploc bag. Sometimes you get those big plastic bags in your packages. When you're ordering things, keep those, because those make for good greenhouse within a greenhouse. So you just slide your tray in there, or I would just put the bag into this and tie it in a knot, and just until you see green, and then go ahead and take the bag off. It's a great way to boost the starting your plants. I do that all the time. Sometimes I would add a little bit of worm casting or worm tea to my seeds, and I get a boost. And I've seen that when I do that, I usually get germination almost 5 days sooner than I would otherwise. And things come in strong. The roots are really nice and tight, and I love that. So that's just a tidbit on, some things you can do as far as non-traditional things. If you don't want to bother with planting seeds and having things in pots and things like that, just do a tray. You could use anything. You could use an old shoebox. You could use all the different things that we get that we need to recycle. Put holes in the bottom, throw in your soil, and boom, you can have microgreens. I picked this up at Tractor Supply, and I noticed that, these, anybody's ever seen these? They're like cocoa core, and you just wet it, and I brought some water. I'm going to show you. You just wet it, and it turns into your medium for your plant. So as soon as it forms into that and expands, and it crumbles all up, and you just massage it in, and then just drop in your seeds, and voila. Put this in a sunny window, and you've got whatever it is you want to grow. So that's one of the things I would say for week 4 through 5, you want to harvest the greens, like I said, and then week 6 through 8, tend to your cool season crops. Just check over everything. One of the things I do as far as rabbits and squirrels and things like that, I will put like these little cups I have here. I do grow in those, and I just cut out the bottoms, and I just plant the whole thing. You will see that when you go over there. One of the things I noticed that when I do that with rabbits or squirrels or anything, I take a toilet paper roll and I just cut it down the side, and I put it around the plant, the seedling that's already grown up. And then, I just see what happens. And a lot of times they don't bother it because they don't want to deal with that. They don't want anything. Anytime you put something around your plants to keep them from, the pests from getting to it, a lot of times they'll try it, and then they see that it's a headache, and they won't go back to that. And that's what I found. So I've grown thousands and thousands of plants. I mean, so many things. So I'm speaking from experience. So I hear the excuses of deer and things like that. There's always a way around it if you're willing to save your money and not go into town to buy your groceries. All right, so in week 9 through 12, you want to reap the rewards of your fall garden, and you can reap the rewards. If you have a raised bed, it'll look just like that greenhouse you saw. So this is some of the produce from a late. I like to take the pictures at my last. And this is from last year, the last picking, like in late September, early October. And this is what I was able to pick. And so that's pretty much what we're up against today. I think I harvested all of the watermelons, but there's still cabbage and squash. Surprisingly, no more cucumbers actually now. That plant that was the last of that. And so you can get a lot of things in September. I mean, we're halfway in the month, right? So you want to plant your seedlings at the correct depth and spacing, water deeply in the early morning, weed regularly to prevent any competition. So if you've got weeds growing around it, you definitely want to pull those weeds out. You want to get that area clear from weeds so that seedling can really get comfortable with the soil around it and not have to compete with anything else. You want to stake or tie any tall plants. So I do have a type of a pea here that is actually cold hardy, believe it or not. And some of it is kind of vining. I grew these last year, and I was surprised in November. I went out there, and there were all these purple peas. So I'm not so sure. I did that last year. I'm going to do it again this year. That was the first time last year. So watch out for that. I mean, I'm always willing to try something new. Yes? Mm-hmm. So basically, with those turnips, I heavy mulch them. Actually,
Put it around the plant itself.
I actually mulch so turnips, you know the turnips, right? And so I put the seeds down and the seedlings popped up. And this time I don't normally do it that way, but I decided I had these old seeds somebody had given me. They said they were 3 or 4 years old. I'm always planting old seeds. I have nothing against old seeds. And so I just said, you know what? These seeds might not work. I'm just going to throw them all in the raised bed. So I threw them all in the raised bed. I just went like this. I have a 4x4 raised bed. I went like that. I just put them all in, okay? And then I just, you know, it was like, I want to say late September, late October, something like that. And then I went back and I saw a few pop up. I was like, okay, that's fine. I'll probably replant them somewhere or whatever. So then I started thinking, wait, this is a root vegetable. It's probably going to be fine. I'm just going to leave it and see what happens. Guess what? I'm not crazy about turnips. If they come up, they come up. If they don't, they don't. I don't sell my produce. I give it away. And so I said, I have nothing to lose here. But when the winter came and we got that first cold, cold frost, I got really nervous. So I ran down to the nearest feed store and I got the feed pack. They're about this big that you would give to your chickens or whatever. I want to say that it is, I use regular mulch too, but I just took that and I opened the pack and I just spread it across the entire bed, a thick layer about an inch. And I just spread it across the entire bed. And this spring, every one of them came up. I had to divide them and put them in the other 4 raised beds. So instead of having other things growing in the raised bed, I had 4 beds of turnips. So that's how I mulched it, about an inch thick, and I would use cocoa coir. I would use that, and my brain is not with me right now on shavings. The shavings, you just get them from Tractor Supply. They come in a big plastic, and I use them every year, and for some reason I'm not thinking of them, but they're just tree shavings. And I just put that across the bed, and when all of my neighbors are passing by and they're like, why are your plants still living? And it's because I heavy mulch them. So that's what I mean by heavy mulch. It just helps to protect, and it keeps your moisture in too. So I heavy mulch in the summer as well. And when I heavy mulch in the summer, I will just do individual plants because I'm gardening in a field. So I'm not going to use that much for the whole field. So I would go and I would just do around the plant. So the tomato plant, I would just do around the plant itself. And I may have a picture of the garden. I don't know if I included one, but thank you for asking that. And if anybody needs more detail, more pictures, more explanation, please let me know because I only have 2 hours and it seems to go by so fast. I always run out of time. So if I'm rushing, forgive me. I just want you guys to have a chance to look at the seeds and to do that. So I want to go through this, but we hopefully will have time at the end. So you want to harvest your leafy greens and root crops weekly. You want to regularly pick and keep the plants productive. If you pick regularly, so if you pick the peas, pick the carrots, pick all the things, especially the leaves, the lettuces, and the mabula that I have here, Mizuna, sorry, this one here, and the watercress. If you pick these regularly, more will come, and they will just keep coming and keep coming and keep coming. And that's what you want to do. So you want to pick anything that's a leafy green, you want to pick it regularly. If it's a cabbage, chances of you getting more of that may not be, but I have seen it happen where if I cut it off and I left the base there, I get a few leaves on that same base when I cut it, especially this particular lettuce here. So these are all frost hardy. So carrots, beets, turnips, they can all stay in the ground all winter. So those I usually plant in the fall, and I don't touch them until spring. I just don't even bother with it because I planted them during the summer, so I have them, but I don't particularly try to disturb them. I just heavy mulch it, and I'll get mulch even from the city for the winter. I'll do that. Okay. I think I did this one. So here's what we have for Arkansas Hardy Zone 6B to 8A. It just depends where you are. It changes sometimes. I think last year People were saying 7B and things like that, but I typically just go with what the seed pack says, and then I just experiment. So that's a good thing about gardening. You can say next year's going to be a better one because I learned from it this year. But there's tons of resources and information on the Master Gardener website. Please go to that. Man, they've done the work for you, so you don't even have to guess anything. They have every single month a class that you can take on Zoom with them for free, and you can learn from the experts, the researchers that are on there teaching about all the different topics. You want to know how to grow watermelon and want to know why you're having squash bugs and all the kinds of things. They're there for that. So they put that information there. I just grabbed a few things from there. Cool season planting windows, late September, October for your fall, February to March for your early spring. You want to cover your crops to protect your soil in the winter. Just think of soil that's not covered is just naked. So if you can make sure your soil's always dressed by putting some form of a good organic mulch on it, and there's so many different kinds. So if you're wondering what is an organic mulch, just go ahead. Like I said, that's something I cover more in my beginner garden class, but if you just go ahead and Google that and go onto the website, Mulch and More is a major resource in Fayetteville for all kinds of mulches. And so I would call them, they're the experts. So they have done the research for mulch, and they would be able to answer any questions about mulch that you have. If you tell them what you're growing, they're going to tell you, okay, this is the mulch you want to get. So you mulch heavy to protect your roots from the sudden cold snaps, and watch for local pests like tomato hornworms, squash, and vine borers. I want to tell you that there is a fig plant. If you ever get over off of Garland to the extension office, there is a fig plant that's well over 5 or 6 years old, maybe more, and it is growing like crazy, and they get figs from it. And people always say you can't grow figs in Arkansas, but you can grow figs. You can have fig jam and all of that. They always do that. And so if you put something in the right environment and you heavy mulch it, and master gardeners are big for mulching, and they really heavy mulch everything. And a lot of times the mulch just comes from your local, centers that where you get all the trees from. I think last year the tornado gave everybody so much mulch. So if you're needing mulch, I'm sure you can find it now for free probably. So you want to use the resources from your Arkansas Cooperative Extension Service or wherever you live, because they've done all the research for you. They're there for you. It's a free service, and they're very happy whenever they see someone walk in the door. Cool season gardening saves you money and brings you fresh food right to your table. And with good timing and consistency, anyone can do this. This is so easy. I began gardening just 5 years ago. And it was during COVID that I wanted to do something else. I was bored and I needed something to do while I was inside. Put a seed in a pot and fell in love and became a gardener. So anyone can do this, and I really believe in it. Arkansas mild climate gives you 2 seasons to grow cool crops. You want to start small and you want to always start with a smile, and you want to start small and stay steady and enjoy your harvest. Gardening is a lifelong learning process, so don't let anyone ever tell you they're an expert. This isn't a criticism deal here. We help each other, and we just try to make the best of it for everybody's benefit. I had someone tell me recently, Tarsha, you spoke at a conference a couple years ago, and I just didn't believe anything you were saying because you're just a wild gardener. You grow everything. You don't care about, the seasons and all the things. And I said, I just love it. And she says, well, I decided I had a papaya, and I wanted to grow papaya. And she said to me, she says, I'm going to send you the picture. She sent me the pictures of her papaya. And, she just said, you can't grow papaya here. She was very vocal in her seat. I remembered it. And she said, that was me. And I said, okay, you found my number. Oh, great. And so, but I was happy she did. And she said, because I have papaya growing. So what she does is she has them in buckets, like I did, and she pulls them in the winter. She told me that she had to go out of town and she asked a neighbor to pull them inside for her. When she got back, her papayas were the size of what you buy in the store. She was so happy. And she says, I will never doubt what you're saying again. Please let me know when you're teaching again. So I just want you to know that I didn't know when I planted those 100 papaya seeds that I was going to get 100 papaya plants. And a good thing there was an event coming up and I was able to give them away to people. And I explained to them that you cannot leave these outside as soon as it gets cold. I mean, the cold even that we've been having lately, you've got to pull them inside. But they are the most beautiful plants, and they get so tall and they're just really nice. Even ornamental, they look great. So just my point in saying that is just never let anyone tell you that you can't grow something. The seeds, they're very cheap, and so just put a seed into the soil and just see what happens. That's what I believe. Put a seed in the soil and see what happens. So there's more Master Gardener resources there if you scan that, and I hope that, let me just see if I had anything else on here. This is a woman that sent me, I was so happy to get this. I experimented with watermelon this year more than last year. I went to a watermelon festival and I decided I'm going to have a field of watermelon. Well, I got a field of watermelon. So I drove around Bentonville and I was stopping at businesses, giving people watermelon. And I said, you can have it. Oh, no, I want to give you money. No, I don't want money. Would you give me a review? And this is the review she sent me. Happy Sunday afternoon, Tarsha. It was her name. We sliced into the watermelon. My husband and I agree it's the most amazing, flavorful watermelon we've ever had. And as a native Arkansas, over the age of 50, we have had far few watermelons, LOL. We have pinched some of those seeds and might have a go at it ourselves next year. So that it was so important to me because it was something that I was timid to do. But I just stepped out in faith and I said, I prayed over that garden. I said, Lord, this is your garden. I truly want to have watermelon. And we got watermelon galore. We were giving them out. We had so many and just didn't want them to go bad. And squashes too, big squash and just so much. So just don't ever feel like there's something you can't grow because of your pests, your animals, your neighborhood, your soil, whatever it is. A lot of times I add to my soil. So I'll dig the hole, but I may add what I put together there, which is peat moss, peat light, worm casting, and I'll put it in the hole. And sometimes I'll do fish emulsion, and I'll put that in there, and I plant my plants, and I just let it go. And it happens where we have so much food. So thank you so much. I appreciate everybody coming out. So let's just go over to the table if you want to. And what I have here is, first of all, I'm going to show you some of the seeds. And you'll be welcome to come up here and take a look. But this is Mizuna. It's like a leaf that you would find in salads in fancy restaurants, really popular. And surprisingly, this snowy milkweed is frost hardy. I would mulch it, but it's frost hardy. And I don't know about you, but I love milkweed. Bok choy, this particular bok choy is frost hardy. Okay, so I would definitely plant bok choy. It is so healthy for you. You could wrap your turkey in it and have a delicious snack. You can wrap tomatoes. It's a big leaf, so it's really good. If I planted this in a raised bed, I would mulch the raised bed. I would make sure no soil is open and naked, and I would just make sure that it's coming up around the plant, and I would water it in and just follow the instructions on the packet. Things like rudbeckia and kale, they're not frost hardy. Well, this particular kale is frost hardy, but some things are not. This particular rudbeckia actually is, so it says it on the packet, but a lot of times you'll buy certain ones and it says no, but I brought these and they're empty because I've already planted them. They are frost hardy, so we're gonna see what happens. So I know that I've gone places and they're like, no, those are not. So there you go. This particular one, this salvia, absolutely beautiful. Could you imagine having these flowers on your table in the winter? Frost hardy, so that's also frost hardy. Watercress, not a popular thing anybody's growing around here, but it is popular in some of the fancier restaurants. You'll find it in salads. This is another Mizuna here. It's a green one, so I showed you the pink leaves. And then Cherville, I may be pronouncing it wrong. It is also another green. I'm big on the greens in the winter time, in the fall, so make sure you have your greens. Radishes. I grow radishes all year long, and they grow all year long. All year long, you can have radishes, and I can tell you that as a witness to that. Fennel, it says frost hardy. I've only grown fennel in the summer. I'm doing it this year for the first time in the fall and the winter, and we'll see what happens. But it says it's frost hardy, so there you go. And there's two different kinds. Fennel is really great. If you Google fennel on YouTube, you will find out that you can make a lot of great things with fennel. Okay, the popular ones that you guys know about? Yeah, definitely, right? Now, we're going to play a little game for some gloves. Okay, so marshmallow. Does anybody know what you do with marshmallow? Okay. Who can take out their phone and Google it? Marshmallow. It can be like that. It's a green also. You can toss it in your salads. Anybody else? I saw it recently in a capsule, and it was for upset stomach and nausea. I was really surprised. So I thought, I want to grow that. That's going to be fun. And it says it's frost hardy. So what about this one? Yep. Is it not or frost hardy? I don't know. What do you think? Who knows? Yes? No?
I would think not.
You would think no?
But
yeah. So this one is. Yeah. we mentioned earlier the peas, right? So these peas, and if you want to grow something with your kids and you want to have fun and you want to grow something quick, this will come up so fast. It says 10 to 30 days it sprouts. No. It sprouts probably within 7 to 10 days. You'll see a little sprout come up. So I love these for people that are, kind of like they're kind of discouraged about gardening, but once they see the green, they get excited. I worked, I did something. These are good to use for that. But what's good to use more than anything else for somebody like that is lettuce. It's going to come up really quick. This is 7 to 10 days. And so this is the one that I always encourage people starting a new garden, and they want to see green right away in their raised bed. The husband has put it together, or the wife has put it together, and it's like something needs to grow in there, or they just get discouraged. They just say, forget about it, I hate gardening. Throw the entire bed full of lettuce, and they will get excited because they will have lettuce. It will grow. All right. We said coriander, right? Anyone ever cook with this? You buy it at Spice in the Spice area. Then barley. It's not something that's very popular, but it is frost hardy. This spinach as well. It has this beautiful strawberry leaves that comes alongside of it. You just chop it up, throw the whole thing in your salad. It is really, really good. This bloody dock is kind of like questionable. It is frost hardy, but some people have said they don't like it, or it gives a kind of a bad stomach feeling or whatever. I've never had any problem with it. It does spread. So if you do plant it, you will have this dock bloody everywhere. And I'm okay with that, but some people are not. So be careful with something like that. Radishes, I think we talked about. There's a green one and a pink one. So so these little things here, I mentioned before, you just add water. I usually, let's see, Jaden, can you bring me that water, please? And you can put it in just a bowl or a tray. Can you, just that water that you filled up for me? You didn't fill it up. What, there's no water in the light. Here, can you give me that green, the lid to the dirt right there? The lid, just take the lid off. So just to keep it simple, I'm just going to put it in here because it looks like I didn't bring anything without holes in it. And so basically, it'd be better if you put it in like a bowl or something so it could soak. So I just put it on here. Let me see, because people are watching online. I just put it in here like this. And then you just let it sit. So in this case, it might need to sit longer than we want it to, but we'll let it sit while we're doing other things. And then you'll watch it, it's going to expand. Kind of like that stuff we used to put in the bathtub and then it would just poof, and the kids would go crazy, they loved it. And so I usually don't have very much patience. About halfway in the time I start breaking it up, but you don't have to do that. Okay, all right, so that's cocoa core. That's just another way if you want to be, fancy and you're like, I just don't want soil in my house. I can't take it. So if you're one of those people, this might be your option. Buy a bag of these. They come just like this. You can get a big bag of them. Take them out whenever you want to plant something or start seeds. Or if you're just a person that has plants in your house and that's all you want, and you want these little pots, then you can do that as well. So, all right. So if you want to go to the table, I have seeds there that you can actually, and this dirt is not going to do anything to your hands. It's one that I made out of peat moss and peat lights. It's you can touch it. It's very, very simple. What I usually like to do on the seeds, let's just say the spinach. What you can do is just open the pack and then just put the seeds right here on the table, okay? And then put the pack right next to the seed. Then you know what you're planting, okay? And then I have some markers and labels. I brought these little containers, but you might want to use something bigger. I see these little ones are just so little, but it's up to you, all right? So if everybody wants to do that, and then I have lavender here.
Like this one says, like sprinkle on a moist paper towel, hold in the fridge for 30 to 40 days.
I don't do any of that. Yeah.
Stuff,
I never do that, but I encourage people to follow the seed pack, but I don't do it because I just don't have that kind of time or space to do that. So that